What are the favourite wrestling photographs of your favourite wrestlers? Let's find out. Welcome along to the latest in our series, Portrait of a Wrestler. And I welcome you to this week's guest, hailing from New South Wales, Australia, though currently residing in St. Louis, Missouri. In 2022, she was ranked as the 54th best female wrestler on planet Earth. And as a singles wrestler, she has been the winner of the Global Conflict Shield Tournament and the PWWWWA Championship. And as a tag team wrestler with her partner, Millie McKenzie, she carried Medusa Complex to the gold in Sendai and in Pro Wrestling Eve, with a reign lasting 756 days. She has wrestled for GCW, Rev Pro, Progress, PWA, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNT, PWA. This is the violence artist and owner of the best smile in all of professional wrestling. This is Charli Evans. How you doing, Chebs?
I'm great. That was so nice.
So, Portrait of a Wrestler, we take this opportunity to talk to famous wrestlers and talk to them about their favorite photographs in all of professional wrestling. Before we dive into those photographs, we have to take a look at your first ever promo picture. Here we go, Charli Evans. Talk to me about this.
Who is she? We literally took these photos on my camera.
How long ago was this? About 2014?
2014. I'd probably been training maybe 4 or 5 months. And we literally took these on my Canon DSLR, the worst model you can get. It was after a training session one day. The pants I'm wearing are not even mine. It's not mine. The shirt I got is from a surf store. And then Jessica Troy's mum made those armbands for us. And they say Hoff, which is our trainer's name, and also the name of the school that we went to.
Right.
And he wore tassels, so apparently we had to wear tassels. I'm not a very tassel-y girl. And I probably had Converses on, and that's it.
But we wouldn't know that from this photo. I like the way that you just leant straight into tassels, just straight into wrestling. I'm a wrestler, tassels.
I must wear tassels. It's just... I don't even know.
You look so excited. I assumed as well that HOF stood for Hall of Fame, obviously.
Right. One day. No, I looked so excited and baby-faced and like a child, because I was.
Interesting question, Charli Evans. What would Charli Evans in 2000, at the end of 2023, beginning of 2024, what would Charli Evans say to this Charli Evans?
Oh my God. Just be you. Don't try and be whatever you think a female wrestler's meant to be, and just have fun.
I think that's one of the most endearing qualities of you as a professional wrestler, is that you are unashamedly you, and you stand by your principles, and you don't deter from that. You what you see in the ring and in front of the camera and all those things is definitely Charli Evans. So I think that's a really admirable quality.
Thank you.
Did you go into wrestling thinking, I have to be something else, I have to be somebody else, or?
I think a little bit at the start, yeah. I know that who I am now as a wrestler is just pretty much me as a person. There's really not much difference, which I have found a lot of confidence in. But I think when I first started, I was if you're a girl, you wear pink and you wear these sort of outfits and this color, and I didn't fucking know as a character what the fuck I was. It was very cliched. This is a bad guy, this is a good guy, and this is what they do. And now it's just whatever. I can translate things in real life over to wrestling, and it's cool. Okay,
so we're going to move on now to the first of your 3 images. And the first image we ask you to provide is your favorite image from your career from within pro wrestling. And you have chosen this wonderful image from Robin at Beyond Gorilla. So talk me through this one.
I just think this photo is so cool. It's just, and it brings my heart a lot of joy. Tagging with Millie was the most fun that I've ever had in wrestling, because I think we're at a place where I know she wasn't really vibing wrestling, but if we were together, she was. So that was really nice. And we would just travel all together. We kind of came up with the idea of wanting to tag, and then Eve ran with it, and then it just kind of picked up everywhere else, and we liked being around each other. We were around each other every day regardless, so it just made us happy that we could just do it together. Everyone else seemed to love it too, and it's just cool, isn't it? Look at all the belts, just cool.
Well, I just think, yeah. I mean, I had an email drop the other week from a wrestler who's picking up lots of championships at the moment, saying I need to come to your studio to get the championship shot. You know, to get the one. There's a famous one of Kurt Angle, I think, in TNA when he was doing Japanese work as well, and he's got all the belts on him. You know, talk us through the belts in this picture. Where are they from?
Okay, so the ones around our waist are the Eve tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
That we apparently held for 700 days, definitely not because of a pandemic or anything, but we'll take it, we'll claim it. And then I have the Resurgence belt and the Good belt.
Who came up with the idea to call yourselves Medusa Complex, and where does that come from?
It was kind of, we like sat down and had like a little discussion about it. And we were calling everyone snakes because everyone was a snake. And then I was like, okay, well, why don't we just like kind of lean into that? And I was like, okay, like Medusa. And then I looked into stuff about Medusa, and there's like an actual disease called the Medusa Complex where you're like so fearful of something that your body actually gets paralyzed. That's called the Medusa Complex. So I was like, fuck, that's cool.
And for people who haven't seen Medusa Complex in action, what was your style as a tag team? How would you describe it to someone who's never seen them before?
Dumb as fuck, but like really cool and like tough. We'd fuck around and stuff, especially Mill, before the bell. But then as soon as it like, we were like getting to work. And I think we did have like a really hard hitting style as well, especially after coming back from Japan. And then also like training with Fight Club, like I think it was like a very like sort of like in your face rough sort of style. But we are just dickheads, so had to bring some of that in it.
I think going to Japan and paying your dues is the thing, isn't it? Paying your dues or whatever. But I think any female wrestler that goes to Japan for an extended period of time and stays out there and then comes back elevated. Not only in their own style and ability, but with the fan base, you know. And you mentioned that toughness. Talk to me a little bit about that, about the process of going to Japan, what you learned, and then what you were able to bring back as sort of like a reinvented, you know, wrestler. She
went out with Fight Club Pro when they did their first tour out there, and then we both went, and we were there for like over a month, and it was just us two. And thank God, like, there is no one else that I could do that with, like truly no one else. Because we were in Sendai, which is like 5 hours up from Tokyo. So it's very like Japanese. Like in Tokyo, there's like a lot of people that speak English, but in Sendai, it's really not the case. So you're like really immersed in this like all Japanese culture. And like you're like the only foreign person there. So it's pretty crazy. And then the dojo was like, I can't, like, it's so crazy. Like these girls drop out of school at like 14, 15 years old, and just every day they're at the dojo at 8 a.m. to clean, and they train for like 3 or 4 hours, and they have a break, and then they train again, and then they clean, and then they go home, and then it's just like a repeat cycle. But it does just teach you to like, you know, you see it a lot in like the matches, like fighting spirit, but like that's from the dojo. Like some of these girls, we had to do these stair runs, and they're bawling their eyes out, but they're not stopping. And it's the most insane thing to watch, but you kind of do just like realize who you are as a wrestler from the training and from the shows there. And I think when I came back to England after like my last tour there, which was like November, December, I came back and I was like, okay, like I know who I am now. And like, I feel like just so much more confident in my abilities.
Explain to me why you have such a close relationship with Millie.
We met like the second day I got to England in like 2017, and we just clicked instantly. Like we went to training and I met her. I had heard about her because we had other friends go over to England and come back, and they're like, oh, you'd really get along with Millie. As soon as we met, it was just like instant, just clicked. We lived so close to each other as well. We trained together 3 nights a week. We traveled together on the weekends, and it was like just inseparable.
Moving on, second photo, we ask you to pick a photo from wrestling in general. So it could be any era, any federation, any one. And you have chosen this image here.
Oh, I love this photo. I just think it's so powerful. I love Deathmatch, obviously. Big Deathmatch girl. Even if I didn't do it, always loved Deathmatches. And just to see like a woman being able to be put in that spot, and just like there's something really beautiful about like breaking glass and blood. And I understand that might not be for everyone and it might be a very weird thing to say, but I really do think it's just there is something really, really stunning about it. And like to be able to capture like the movement of it and that spooky dust like above her head, and just like Rena is one of the best people to photograph. Like her facials are always on point. She always just looks so intense and she's stunning. She's beautiful. And just to see that, and I saw this photo before I had met Rena. I literally saved it. I was like, wow, like this is the craziest photo. I remember I shared it on my Facebook being like, this is beautiful. And then I think about a year after that photo, I got to wrestle her and like meet her. And even before that, this has been one of my favorite photos for a while. But after doing a death match, especially with a woman, as a woman, you like have this bond that's like really unbreakable. Like with Rena, like we met and then we wrestled, and then after that we've just been like such close friends, and every single time we see each other there is that bond there. Same with Sawyer Wreck, like met for the first time, wrestled, and there is just like that connection that's really like not touchable. So I think all of that considered, I just love this photo so much.
It looks, I mean, it's so harsh in the lighting, which I think helps because it's obviously a very, very harsh photo. So it helps pick out all of the details of the glass and everything shattering around. Having like photographed begrudgingly fluorescent tubes exploding on people's heads because I don't like it.
Yeah, I understand.
It's squeamish. That's fine. I understand the aspect. I understand the drama of deathmatch wrestling. I understand the pros of it in terms of storytelling and in terms of creativity. I just don't like seeing. I don't like people getting hurt. I think that's it. I think that's why I don't. That's why I don't watch boxing.
Yeah,
because it's people deliberately trying to hurt each other, right?
Yes, I understand.
But having been ringside to try and photograph fluorescent tube smashing, I can tell you it's very difficult in terms of the timing. Within the few seconds that you break a fluorescent tube, things are happening at slightly different times. So the initial impact happens, but then the glass actually sort of shatters just afterwards.
Right.
And then you've got the powder just after that. So it's sort of happening in sort of stages. So your timing has to be spot on. And it's not the sort of timing that you'd instinctively go for in terms of smash, I've got it. You almost need to wait a second or two afterwards to really get the shot. Yeah. And this with just like, there's a few triangles working in here. The triangles of the fluorescent tubes, firstly at the bottom, but then the triangle of the whole piece just lends itself to a really, really appealing shape within the image. Couple that with the expression and just how red that blood is in the shot. It's just, I can see what you mean by beauty and violence. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like almost like a Tarantino style Reservoir Dogs type thing, where there's something quite beautiful in that violence. You lean in heavily to deathmatch culture. What is it about death matches that appeals to you as a performer? And have you achieved everything you want to achieve in deathmatch wrestling, or is there still more is there still some things that you want to achieve in it?
I think I like lean into it a lot because I do see it as like an extra addition to that sort of expression and like art form. You know, being able to use weapons and then having blood, and like it's all these different elements that you can bring in to tell more of a story. I get that it's not for everyone, and I understand. I think if it's done right and it's done by people that, you know, are trained and are actually good wrestlers, then it makes for a great match. But you know, there's shit wrestling in normal wrestling too, so I understand. But it is just having all these like other elements. It sounds weird, but I almost feel like people can relate to it a little bit more. You know, you felt a thumbtack before, or a drawing pin. Like people know what that feels like. People don't know what it feels like to take a choke slam. You know what I mean? So people can actually be like, oh fuck, like I know what that feels like. Now, obviously the risk is there, but there's ways to protect yourself. Like we're not just going in there and fucking stabbing each other. And if you do, please don't.
Please don't.
Please don't. I do think it is beautiful. Like the adrenaline is just so much higher. I remember after I had my first one, I was like buzzing for like 3 days. Hey, I got home, I could not sleep. Like I was like, or just because I bled a little bit of blood and Chris Brooks hit me with one light tube. And I was good for a few days.
The interesting thing about Deathmatch wrestling as well is that it's a massive leveler, isn't it? In terms of like, if you just had a normal wrestling match with a big guy and a little guy, most people are going to look at that and go, well, the big guy should probably win. I might root for the little guy, but he's going to be a bit scrappy-do about it. Whereas with a death match, it's sort of a massive leveler in terms of like, okay, you might be the best technical wrestler on the planet. I'm going to hit you with a chair. Okay, you might be 7 foot tall. I'm going to hit you with a chair. That probably allows you to tell more stories. Who's your dream deathmatch opponent? Have you got anyone left?
I would love to wrestle Rena again in a singles match in Japan. I would really like to do that.
Let's put that out into the universe, shall we?
Please. We had a tag in Japan, but it wasn't a singles. I want the singles.
Let's take you through to your final image. This is your favorite photograph from anything. It could be wrestling. It can be from your own life. It can be artistic. It could be anything that you want. And you've chosen as your favorite photograph. And when these dropped, I remember saying to you, oh my God, they're the most adorable set of photos I've ever seen from a guy called Chris Mount, who's an amazing photographer, because you look so happy. And it's this one here.
Yes. Oh my God. So me and Connor ran away to Vegas for a few days to get eloped. And these choosing one photo was really hard. And I feel like up until a month or so ago, if you asked me these questions, it probably would have been one of the photos we did together.
This specific one, where was it in Vegas?
This is at a little white chapel, which is where Steph and Triple H did that, got married, Michael Jordan got married there too. It's a lot of people. It's a super, super famous one. We just loved the tunnel and with all the angels on the roof. And I think it's it was like perfect for us. We got married in a pink Cadillac, in the back of a pink Cadillac. And yeah, we just look so cute and so happy. And I love our outfits. And it just worked. It was the most perfect day. It was the most us day.
Listen, to share an image from something so personal with us on this channel is a real privilege. So firstly, thank you very much for that. I love the matching outfits. I love the hearts on the boots and the hearts on his outfit. I love the way that his hair just works in perfect color harmony with the ceiling. It just works so well. It's so lovely. And just your pose and your look into his eyes is just wedding day perfection. From a guy that's been shooting weddings for 20 years, that's what you want out of your bride. In terms of creating, and that's what you want to give as a photographer, is something that looks really pretty, really beautiful, but also really, really natural and authentic, which is what you've got there. And I'm just so glad that you had, a wedding that clearly meant so much to you in Vegas, and like I said, the rest of the set from Chris Mount, it does justice to your relationship and makes it look beyond perfection.
Thank you. Oh yeah, he killed it.
What's coming up for you, Charli, in the future now that you're stateside? Talk to me about that.
So I have just GCW on New Year's Eve, which will be fun, at the Showboat. We love the Showboat. And then we're heading back to Australia. So we would have done 3 months in St. Louis. A good amount for me.
Too cold from the girl from New South Wales, right?
Yes, from the beach. Too cold.
You need your sunshine. Yeah, you need your sunshine, your surf, and your dangerous animals back.
Yes, I need some stuff that doesn't have sugar in it. America is crazy. Love it, but it's crazy.
It really is, yeah. And where can people find you online?
Charli Evans Pro on Twitter and Instagram.
We'll put all those up for you. You can link up. You can find Charli on there, and you can support her and follow her brand and do all those sorts of things. Thank you very much for joining us.
Of course, thank you.
So there we go. Those are the favourite photographs of Charli Evans. Which one's your favourite, and who would you like to see on this series in future? Let us know in the comments below. Check out our other videos on this YouTube channel. There's a whole plethora of content there for you. If you've enjoyed this video, like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things. But the best way to share the love is to tell your friends about the channel. All the best.